Hello, welcome to the Safety Talk for Children's Church. If you're watching this means that you have completed some of the training, and now we're going to move on to the safety portion. Safety is one of the number one concerns of parents when dropping their kids off at Children's Church, not just here at Living Rock, but at Children's Churches across the board. There's two things that they're mostly concerned about, and the first one is safety. Is my child going to be safe physically, spiritually, emotionally? And two, are they going to enjoy it? And hopefully the answer is yes on the second one, but part of my job is making sure that the answer is absolutely on the first one. Not just because I care about other people's kids, but because I care about mine too. I want to make sure that my children are safe and cared for. And I care about your children too, and making sure that they get what they need and are physically safe. So I care about that so much that even in the goals for like the nursery and the preschool, one of their classroom goals is to make sure that kids are feeling cared for and knowing that church is a safe place where they are loved, full of people that love and care for them and want what's best for them, mostly being in a relationship with Jesus. And one of the best ways we can do that is making sure that they're safe. And so we have several policies and procedures in place that just help to keep everything safe, keep everything legally good, so that I can, at the end of the day, say, yes, your children were safe and cared for. And so with that being said, here are some of our policies. So every adult, so anybody over the age of 18, they are submitted to an FBI level background check. Anybody who's on the sex offender list or anything like that will come up. Any misdemeanors, different things will come up like that. And people who have anything in their background that would not permit them from being in around children are not allowed to serve in that capacity. And this is a big one that's just a very easy step that we can take to protecting children and protecting us legally as well. So that is something that's front and center on our website, saying that every single adult is given a background check, because that is something parents look for when they're picking out a church. So all volunteers are mandatory reporters. So this is a law in the state of Wyoming. If you work with children, whether that is in a daycare, the public school system, serving as a lifeguard at the pool, or even here at a church, if you work with children, minors, you are a mandatory reporter. So what that means is that if you are told something by a child that someone is hurting them, that maybe they're not getting enough food at home, other examples might be that there's a bug infestation at their house, or maybe my mom and dad leave us alone all the time, an unreasonable amount of time. Things like that come up. Those are things that have to be legally reported to the state. And so if something like that were to come up, what you would do is you would talk to me about that, and I would either pass that along directly to Children's Services or have a discussion with the elders. If it's something like a minor issue, like maybe the family just needs some financial assistance, that's something that we would take care of as a church. But if it's something that needs to go to the state, that's something that I would go through the process of submitting, even if that's anonymously through our church, because we are in the business of loving people, and especially loving children. Sometimes that's the most loving thing that we can do, is getting them the help that they need. And while there are definitely hard things with Child Protection Services, they also do a lot of good things, and we want to make sure that children are being loved and cared for. If it were to come out later that a child reported some kind of abuse to you and you did not report it, you could be liable as an accomplice to that. And so it is legally important, not just for the safety of the child, but for your own safety benefit, that you report things like that. And we would go up the chain in reporting that. So again, anything that would come up like that, please report that to me. Another thing that we do, another policy that we have, is that children, a child and an adult, are not allowed to be alone together. That can be kind of tricky. There's different circumstances where that comes up, but so we just try to make sure that you're never alone with the child. So that might look like when children are being picked up, that might look like you're standing in the hall by the door, halfway in the room, halfway out, so that you're not alone with the child. Might look like taking two or three preschoolers to the bathroom together, so that you're not taking just one, but you're going together as a group, things like that. We don't ever want there to be a circumstance where there's any kind of question that not everybody was above reproach. And that's probably something you'll hear me say a lot, is what can we do to be above reproach, that there's never any question that anything weird happened. That protects you, it protects the child. So just be thinking a little bit about outside the box of how you can keep it so that you are safe and the children are safe. And a big way to do that is to never be alone with the child. In circumstances like the nursery or things, if a child has to go to the bathroom, again, bringing another child in, leaving the door open since there is that bathroom within the nursery, those are great solutions. It's just being in eyesight of another person, another adult, as they're older, other children, so that there's never any question of what happened. Let's see. So on that same note, as a volunteer, this doesn't apply to you older teachers as much, but as a volunteer, you're not responsible for potty training. So my nursery volunteers, my preschool teachers, you are not in charge of that. That is its own thing all in itself, but that is not your responsibility. One solution is having a parent come and check on a kiddo all the time, once or twice during the service, or either that would be like bringing another child to the bathroom with you if a child needs help, that kind of thing. Again, it's just being above reproach. What can we do to keep everybody safe? And you can explain that to parents, that we just want to be going above and beyond to make sure your children are safe, and that puts you in an awkward position. So you're not responsible for potty training or anything like that. As far as discipline goes, we offer discipline in several different ways, because discipline, the root word is, or disciple, discipline. We want to be disciple makers, which includes discipline, correcting things that are not correct. So sometimes that involves steering children away from what is bad and towards what is good. But again, we want to make sure that they're emotionally safe and that they're physically safe and that they're having fun and enjoyable, but also making sure other kids are safe and having an enjoyable time. So we obviously don't spank or anything like that at church. You can't take away snacks or activities, those kinds of things. But what you can do, if a child needs a break, you could put them in a chair by the side, and have them come back when they're being respectful. You can bring them to the side of the room, have a conversation with them. Things like that we're not just saying, don't do that. We're saying, hey, we don't do that because we want to show each other love and compassion. And what you're doing is unkind or unreasonable. So let's work past that. When in doubt, call or text the parent, or call or text me. I don't know a single parent at our church right now that would not find that unreasonable. If a child is misbehaving or doing something incorrectly, I think they all, A, want to know, but B, they're willing to take care of that and correct that situation. It's just a matter of communication. If you find yourself in a situation where you need help or backup, I'm going to back you up. So please reach out to me. Let me know what's going on if you had to have some kind of situation in class, some discipline, and I will do my best to help correct that and get things moving forward in a good direction. We have a pretty basic 3 strikes policy. If a child is misbehaving over and over and over again, we kind of do like a strike. So if I have to have a conversation with a parent and say, hey, your kid's being really disrespectful, they're having a really hard time, maybe they're being unkind to another child in class. Once I talk to that parent, have a conversation, that's kind of a 1 strike kind of thing. And then if we get to the point where we're, within 3 strikes in a very close time, I might ask that family to keep their child out of children's church until they can correct their actions. Because again, we want to make sure that not only is that child safe, but the other children are safe. But to be honest, I have had this job for several years now, and I've never had to do that. Most of the time, if there's a problem, having a simple conversation with the parents usually fixes that problem within a week or 2. So I'm very thankful for that. But again, I try to reset that policy like every 6 months if there's a strike, because we want to be abundant in grace. But we also know that there are rules and we need to follow them, not just to honor one another, but especially to honor the Lord. Another point on that is that children's church, it's a privilege, not a right, but we want kids to be here and we want them to be enjoying themselves. But there's rules we have to follow to do that. So as far more safety things, we do have an upstairs room and we have outside different things like that, and you are welcome to use those areas if you need a change of scenery, if you need some more room or different things like that. Please utilize those spaces. Just make sure you're communicating those things with myself so that I can communicate them with our security team, things like that. Please note that anytime you walk through the fellowship hall, it sounds like a herd of elephants. So just be aware of that. Maybe, play the tiptoe game or things like that, but you are absolutely able to go outside, play things like, to play games, things like that. Just be aware of your surroundings and make sure you communicate those things. If you go out of either of our security doors, you'll be locked out. So you need to come in through the front door and past our security person, unless you ask me for a key beforehand. Some other security things, we try not to have children and adults going in and out of the classrooms during children's church time. We try to keep kids in the classrooms if they're not with an adult. That for things like for my preschool classes and my K through 2nd class, that might look like just opening the door while they go to the bathroom. The nursery and the 3rd through 5th class have a bathroom in it, so they really don't need to leave for anything. But for those 2 classes, they can go across fellowship hall to the bathroom, and I just recommend either leaving the door open or everybody goes together and everybody comes back. That's just a safety thing. Parents are absolutely allowed to come and sit in a class and things like that. But if that, happens more than once, we want to make sure that they, A, have a background check, but B, are just a safe person to be around. We just don't want to make it a thing of parents coming in and out of the classrooms, because for safety, we want to keep everybody in there. As for checking kids out of class, luckily we've got everything worked out in our new building for check-in and things like that. That's gone very smoothly. We want to make sure we're encouraging families to wear their name tags, especially the kiddos. Please encourage the children not to eat their name tags, wad them into balls and throw them at each other, or what was the other thing I saw recently? Oh, the big thing is they want to stick them over their mouths, and I'm like, look, it's not to make you be quiet, it's for your safety. So please encourage them to wear them and to leave them alone once they have them on. I know some 3rd through 5th graders that need to have their name tags on their back, just like their younger siblings in the nursery. So keep those safe. Each family has a code that changes every week that corresponds on their parents' name tag, on their siblings' name tag, and on their security code that prints out. Please when you're checking kids out of their class, please just do a quick check from the parents' name tag to the kids' name tag and make sure they line up. I know some of these people are your friends and different things. Hopefully most of them are your friends, but please be checking just to make sure that those things line up. We have had several foster kids. We've had families from divorced families, all kinds of different situations. We want to make sure we are sending kids with the right people, and we want to make sure we're holding that standard for everybody. On that same note, we do not want to send children with other children. Please only send kids with an adult. Even if that's not an adult in their family, if my mom, my kid's grandma, picks up my kids sometimes, but she has her code, so she can do that. But I'm not going to send Simon to pick up Eden. It needs to be an adult, not just for legal reasons, but also just, again, to hold that line that here's the thing, I want adults to know where their children are. So that is your job for the checkout process. As for checking kids in, you don't need to do anything with that. I know I include a clipboard in each class with the child's name, their parents' information, their phone numbers, any allergies, anything you should know, those kinds of stuff. Make sure you're glancing at that every so often, because there might be a food allergy that came up you didn't know about, or we have several kids that have some different medical issues that's all on there. And that is for you to reference. You don't have to check people in with that. You don't have to do anything with that. That's just for you so that you have it, especially in those situations where you do have to text a parent or call a parent. Then you have that information and you can do that. So that is for you. It's not a check-in thing. It is a safety thing so that you are prepared and have everything you need. Okay. Next thing, so I wish I didn't have to talk about this, but in this age we do. Should there be an active shooter situation or anything like that, what do you do? So we have a security team at our church, and they have run through different scenarios on how they would protect us if something like that were to happen. There is an armed security person at the front door during the entire service, and that is our first line of defense. If you are in a classroom and you start to hear screaming, yelling, anything like that, I want you to lock the doors and turn out the lights and get away from the window if possible. Please get the kids as safe as you can in the room. There's lots of people here to protect us. We have several people that wear protective instruments in the service, but if you are in the classroom, your job is to protect the kids as much as you can. So in the nursery and in the third through fifth room, I recommend getting the kids into the bathroom and closing and locking the door. You will receive a phone call from myself or Pastor Mark when it is safe and ready. Please do not come out until you receive one of those things. Those are pretty safe rooms, so please do that. For the preschool room and the K through second room, again, get away from the door, turn out the lights, lock the door, that kind of thing. Those tables are incredibly strong and stable. I recommend putting one of those down and hiding behind it. That is the best thing you can do in that situation. And hopefully other people will take care of the situation. If there is a fire, so your job is to proceed to the nearest exit. So in the in the nursery and the third through fifth room, so those are the rooms at the front, your nearest exit is the front door. Please go out that door. The nursery, it is actually The side door is closer, but either one works. In the nursery, there is a fire grade crib. There we go. I was gonna say bassinet, and that was not right. Fire grade crib, and that can hold like 2,000 pounds in it. Please put all the babies in the crib and wheel them on out. That is actually what they did for 9/11 when the Pentagon was attacked. They took all the babies from the Pentagon nursery. Apparently there's tons of babies in the Pentagon nursery. I had no idea. But their plan is they put them in and they wheeled them out, and then they surrounded those to protect them, which I think is very cool. But so you'll wheel those babies out like that, and that way they're all in the same place and they're secure. Because I don't know about you, but I can't carry 6 kids outside at one time. But this thing can carry all of them, even if they're a little bit on top of each other. And then if you are in the preschool room or the K through 2nd room, your first exit is going to be out that little side door down the hall. There's a thing that says exit. So please go out that way. Our first meeting place is our big sign in the parking lot. So please bring all the children with you in your class to the parking lot. We'll all go out there. We'll make sure everybody in your class is there and then release them to their parents. So that is the first line. If the building's on fire and the sign's on fire and everything is on fire, hopefully we're all okay. But if we are, our next place is the playground down the street. So that's going to be north of the church. There's a playground on the right side of the road. That'll be our secondary place if literally everything is on fire. So that's the plan for that kind of thing. But yeah, so that is the majority of our safety stuff. Again, it's just going above and beyond to be above reproach, to make sure you're being safe with kids are being safe with you. A big thing these days is texting and things like that. Try not to have conversations like that with kids over phones or instant message or anything like that. Even myself, when I'm texting minors that are like volunteering or different things, if I'm sending them reminders, I keep it short and sweet, and most importantly, I make sure everybody has access to that, including their parents. Because again, everything we do is under scrutiny, because we live in a broken world, and there's people who take advantage of children, and there's lots of people who take advantage of children within the church. And so we want to show each other, show the world, but most importantly, show these children that they are loved and that they're valued and that they're safe. So if you have any kind of questions on any of those things, like how do I go about this, or what does this look like, those kinds of things, please ask me. This is a topic I'm really passionate about because I know people that have been hurt in the church, and it seems like every other week I hear situations where things like that have happened. We had a situation about a year ago where someone who had left our church was arrested for crimes against hurting children. And I could say that that person was never alone with a child in the church, that there was never a situation where they were together without a bunch of other people present. And that to me was very comforting, and I want to be able to comfort other people in that same way by saying, no, this was a safe situation. And so I just am thankful for you, thankful for your part in keeping my kids safe and the children in our church safe. So thank you. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions.